Hello! I hope my previous video has helped you to understand the format of SPM novel questions, and also the tips that I shared have helped you to do revision. In this video, I am going to share with you how to analyze the SPM novel questions. Before we begin, my dear viewers, I really appreciate it if you can subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button, and to like this video as well as my previous videos if you like them, and also to click the share button to share the video with others. Sharing is caring, right? In this video, we will first look at the question layout, and then some important keywords that we will see throughout this video, and then how to analyze the questions, and then I will show you one example. As we have seen in the previous video, this is how all novel questions look like. This is basically the layout, where it has instructions and list of the novels which are available for you to choose from, the real question, as well as the marks. Before we proceed to see how we can analyze the questions, let's look at important keywords first. The first one is event, right? The keyword is event. Other words for it are incident, scene, episode, or occurrence. There may be others, but these are the words that we have found so far from SPM past year questions as well as SPM trial questions. Next, important keyword is characteristic. Okay, the keyword is characteristic. Other words for it are quality, trait, feature, or attribute. Again, there may be other words to replace characteristic, but so far these are the ones that we have found from SPM real questions or past year trial questions. The next keywords, let's see, what is it? Do you think? Yes, theme. The keyword is theme. Other words for it are idea or topic. Okay, idea or topic. Next is moral values. The keyword is moral values. Other words for it are lesson or message. Are you ready to analyze the novel questions? Novel questions will always follow the template I have shown earlier. You will not find it in different layout. It's always like that. The changes is in the real question only. All novel questions are made of two parts: instructions or information, and the real question. So this is the question that we have seen earlier. The parts highlighted with blue will always be the same. They always look the same. They will never change. Doesn't matter which year, doesn't matter which novel question, these blue parts will always be the same. If you don't believe me, you can go and check the previous years. All the past years questions, they always look like this. So we remove the instructions, because the blue parts earlier were instructions. So if we remove the instructions, the real question will look like this. Only a tiny part of the question is actually the real question. To analyze SPM novel questions, there are 4 important steps that you need to follow. The first one is to identify the real question. Next, you need to find the focus of the question. After that, you need to know the demands of the question, or basically what the question wants. And finally, you need to decide whether the focus and demands of the question are singular or plural. Step 1. Identifying the real question. First, let's look at these 2 questions. The first one is SPM 2016, and the second question is taken from SPM 2017. Why do I choose 2 questions? So that you can compare them. Now, the first thing you need to do is look at the questions. Okay, look at 2016 and then you look at 2017. Do you see any identical sentences in both questions? Identical means the same. Ada tak soalan yang nampak sama? Bukan soalan, sorry. Ayat yang nampak sama. So, are there any identical sentences? Yes. Based on the novel that you have studied. Anything else that looks identical? With close reference to the text. So, these identical sentences are actually instructions. Okay? Doesn't matter which question, usually you will find these. Sometimes you don't find both of them. Sometimes you might only find one of them. But they are always there. They might sound a bit different, but they are always there. Sometimes the question, they might change one of the words. Right? One of the words, but it's always the same. So these are instructions. So now that you know that these are instructions, what you need to do is you get rid of them. Cross them out. Right? So let's do it. Okay, I remove it. Okay, remove the instructions. Remove the instructions and there. Whatever left is the real questions. So these are the real questions. Step 2. Finding the focus of the question. Now that we have found the real question, we need to find the focus of the question. There are 4 main focuses in novel questions. They are character and characteristics, themes, moral values, and events. Don't they sound familiar? Well, of course, because I have talked about them in my previous video. So for more explanation, you may refer to the SPM novels part 1, right? These are the real questions after all instructions have been removed. What we need to do next is to look for one of the focuses. It's either character and characteristics, or theme, or moral values, or events. So let's look at SPM 2016. Describe a scene that makes you either happy or sad. So the focus is a scene. Earlier we learned that scene is also a synonym for event, right? So let's look at SPM 2017. Write about a value. A value. See, it's even bolded there. So obviously that is the focus. However, this value is not moral values. Okay, because let's look at the sentence. Write about a value that is important to one of the characters. So value of a character, which means this value is characteristic. Okay, remember the questions may use the synonyms as I mentioned earlier. We are now at step 3, knowing the demand of the question. Normally, novel questions have 3 parts. The first one is details for focus of the question. Earlier we have looked at focus of the question, but usually it's longer than that. And whatever else in the question in the focus earlier are the details. And you need to pay focus for it. And next one is effects from the focus of the question. Untuk fokus soalan tadi ada detail dan kadang-kadang ada juga kesan, soalan tentang kesan. And the last one will be your opinion. Okay, pendapat kamu. These questions usually you will see why, reason, or sometimes they mention opinion. Alright, so novel questions, the demands of the questions are usually a combination of these 3 parts. You may find details and opinion, or details and effects, or sometimes you may find all 3. These are the questions that we have seen earlier, SPM 2016 and also SPM 2017. The focus of the questions have been circled for you earlier, right? A scene and also a value. So now let's find the demands of the question. So describe a scene, but that is not all of the sentences. So whatever is remain in the sentence, that is the details. Okay, that is the details. And then the next sentence, give reasons why the scene makes you feel happy or sad. You see there, the word reasons and why? So this is opinion. Now let's look at SPM 2017. Write about a value that is the focus of the question, important to one of the characters in the story. That is the details of the question. So basically you need to talk about one characteristic of the character, and followed by give reasons why it is so. Kenapa value tu penting untuk watak tersebut. That is opinion. So you need to remember there are other combinations too. As I mentioned earlier, it can be details and consequences, consequences and opinion, without any details, or combination of all 3. That is possible. We are finally here at step 4, deciding singular or plural. You need to decide whether the focus and the demands of the question are singular or plural. How? This usually can be decided by checking if they have the plural s or not. Right? For example, question is singular, questions with s at the end is a plural. Or sometimes the question will give you article an, right? Or sometimes they downright give you the word one, that is singular. Deciding whether the focus and demand of the questions are singular or plural can greatly affect the mark awarded for your response. Okay, you need to be careful with this step. Do not skip this step, because if the question asks only one, but you give more, then your mark is not, your score will not be as good. And let's say if the question asks you for plural, for example, values, but you answer only one value, then it will affect your mark. So let's look at some examples. So this is the SPM 2016 question earlier. Now let's look for the focus. We have found the focus earlier, right? Which is describe a scene. And then we need to find the demands, which we have found earlier. Makes you either happy or sad, and also give reasons. So now we need to decide, are they singular or plural? So let's look at the focus. You see there? Describe a scene. And the word scene does not have S for plural. So it is singular. Satu sahaja, event. Makes you either happy or sad. So the word either and or shows choices. Okay, choice. You need to choose only one. Happy or sad. You cannot answer both, right? And then look at reasons. Give reasons. You see there the word the letter S. It makes the demand of the question plural. So you need to give more than one reason, at least two, right? So sebab kamu kena bagi dua. Let's look at another example. SPM 2017. So the focus, as we have found earlier, write about a value. And then the demands, important to one of the characters in the story, and also give reasons why is it so. Why it is so. Right, so is it singular or plural? Write about a value. So only one value. You give answer two values, then your mark, you will not be awarded as many marks as you expected. And then important to one of the characters, meaning you need to talk about one character only, singular, and give reasons. Again, that is plural. Now that you know how to analyze the questions, are you ready for a test? You can download a list of SPM novel questions from the link provided below in the description of this video. Right, so are you ready? Let's go. Right. Okay, so the following novels studied in literature component, blah blah blah. This question looks familiar, isn't it? Because this is SPM 2018, which I have shown you earlier in this video. So what you need to do is first identify the real question by removing all instructions. Remember earlier I showed you about the blue highlights? So after you remove all the instructions, here we have the real question. With close reference to the text, describe one problem faced by the main character. Give your opinion about the way the problem was solved. Next, we must find the focus of the question by removing the last instruction. Remember the identical words, perkataan yang berulang, perkataan yang sentiasa ada di dalam soalan? Yes. So, you remove that and this is the real question. So, next, we have removed the instruction. We need to find the focus of the question. This is the focus of the question. Then, we must find the demands of the question. Give your opinion, the way the problem was solved. And finally, what is the last step? We must decide whether they are singular or plural. So, describe one problem. Jadi, satu saja masalah. Singular, one problem only. Okay, faced by the main character. You see there is no S there. So, meaning seorang sahaja watak utama. Only one main character. And then give your opinion and the way the problem was solved. Also singular. So, you need to give only one opinion. Apa pendapat kamu tentang cara masalah tu diselesaikan? You need to give one opinion about one way the problem was solved. So, now that you have learned the steps to analyze the question, my advice to you is do not memorize the steps. Right? Do not memorize the steps. you have so many other things to memorize. Instead, what you can do is do a lot of practices. Okay, buat banyak-banyak latihan to the point that all the steps, you learned it by heart already. Okay, you know what to do once you see novel question. And what you can do is, remember the question you can download from the description? Yes, you may want to try using the techniques in this video. Try to find all the focus, demands of the question, everything that you have learned from this video. Remember, practice makes perfect. So what is next to expect? Well, there are two more parts of this video, which is part 3, answering techniques. This may be a long video. Well, it is still under development, so you may have to wait a little. And the last one is part 4, sample novel answers. So for the last video, part 4, I may discuss 1, 2 or 3 questions and I will show you how to answer. However, for part 4, I will only use Dear Mr. Kilmer because I teach Dear Mr. Kilmer, and for the other novels, I have very little knowledge. So I am sorry to my viewers that I cannot use Sing to the Dawn or Captain Nobody because I only know about Dear Mr. Kilmer. Right? So stay tuned. And we have come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. That's all, folks. All the best for SPM. Bye.